Welcome, everyone, to What to Watch Live, the show where we discuss the best in TV and entertainment this week. My name is David, and today I'm joined by my fellow Xfinity editors, Gordon, and don't be fooled by the rocks that she's got. It's Liz.
Hey!
There she is. Gordon, you pointed the right way. I'm so impressed.
I know.
Which way?
It's because
There
I
she
could
is.
see this hat here, and I'm like, point at the hat. You know where the hat is.
The hat.
It only took me like 40 episodes to figure that out, David.
You got it. It happened so quickly. I'm really proud of you.
It happened quickly, but in my brain, I'm like, great, I pointed the right direction.
Yeah. So we have got a packed show today. On today's show, we'll be joined by our very special guest star of the new Peacock movie, Marry Me, the one and only Jennifer Lopez. We'll also celebrate the Oscar-nominated actors who starred in small screen series, explore a treasure trove of free video games, and help you organize your weekly watch list. But first, as always, it's time for In the News. The Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences is under fire this week after announcing they will cut 8 categories for next month's Oscars telecast. The 8 categories getting the boot include documentary short, film editing, makeup and hairstyling, original score, production design, animated short, live action short, and sound. These awards will be reportedly presented prior to the live telecast and briefly shown during the broadcast throughout the night. The move immediately sparked outrage among the film community, with many actors, directors, and producers saying that the move is disrespectful and suggests that these branches of the Academy are less important. So why is the Academy doing this? Well, the answer is pretty simple: TV ratings. Last year's Oscars telecast hit an all-time low of 9.85 million viewers and continued a downward trend for the annual event, which often runs well over its 3-hour runtime. Reports say that the Academy hopes to tighten up the show and add more entertainment value, i.e. shenanigans from the hosts and live performances, to attract viewers who have grown tired of the bloated ceremony. Gordon, Liz, what do you think about this decision to cut these categories?
What are the odds that the 8 awards they decided to cut are the ones least likely to be won by celebrities? I don't want any normies on this broadcast. Get me fancy, sparkly dresses and witty banner. Come on. I don't want to see somebody realize their dream in front of a worldwide audience and the elation that comes with that. I want someone who's too cool for school to be like, yeah, thank you so much. Peace. Like, how dare they? But I get it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel, Gordon.
Yeah.
No, listen, I've got a lot of feelings about this too. And I agree with Gordon. I think that their ratings dropping aren't the categories of, it's not related to the categories that are actually being shown, right? And if I'm being honest, these are some pretty important categories that have some, as Gordon mentioned, some breakout stars, some people who are doing some really amazing stuff that are behind the scenes that don't necessarily have that celebrity status. We get enough of the celebrity status. I mean, when they started these academies, we didn't have social media, and we could we were so into this like glamorous movie star life. They're in our face 24/7, all the time, all day. I think that they need to reevaluate the show in its entirety and not necessarily the categories.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to like how I feel about baseball, where they're adding the designated hitter to make the game more entertaining. It's like the people who like baseball like baseball. Like the same thing with movies. It's like if you're watching the Oscars to see celebrities, relax. There's going to be celebrities. But if you watch the Oscars because you love movies, it's kind of like you're cutting out half of your audience. I don't think someone's not going to tune in because they don't get to see, who wins best short documentary or whichever. But like I do think that like it is a celebration of movies, and these people are a key component of movies.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with both of you. And I'm going to take a surprising and maybe different approach to this, because I would argue There are a few people who love the Oscars as much as I do, and film.
That is
I've
true.
been to the Oscars 5 times. I've been there. I've covered it. I've been backstage. I've been on the red carpet. I love the Oscars. But I read a Twitter thread from Patton Oswalt who blasted this decision as a short-term ratings panic. Even though ratings have been declining for a decade. I mean, they're down and they've been going down. It's not short-term. He mentioned that we'd want to have the footage of these awards being presented in the future, which I didn't quite understand. But like, listen, if the ratings continue to dive, there won't be an Oscars telecast in the future. It just will cease to exist. Maybe it moves online, maybe it moves to streaming, but I think the Oscars are in danger of not being a thing. And they're already the Oscars are a self-congratulatory spectacle that has felt more and more out of touch with the common person. The film community gets an entire month of award shows to pat themselves on the back. There's Directors Guild, there's Actors Guild, there's Golden Globes, there's People's Choice, on and on and on. And I say this as a huge Oscars fan, but the fact is less people are going to the movies. Less people are seeing the films that are nominated, and less people are watching the Oscars. I don't think the fix is not just to continue with business as usual. The fix is to solve things. So if you want more people to watch the Oscars, more people will be exposed to the nominated films, and more people will go out and watch those movies. So the Academy already prioritizes categories. That's why Best Actor, Actress, and Picture are at the end of the show. It's designed so you sit through those less glamorous categories for the big payoff. I think it's just really hard for the average person to listen to Hollywood complain about recognition. Like, even though, yes, the people who are being cut out are less recognized. It's not the glamorous awards. But for people being like, oh, Hollywood wants more recognition, they want a big 3-hour bloated show. I just think that the people complaining should look at the big picture and the benefits to making the Oscars more attractive to the average viewer, especially younger viewers who are not going to the movies anymore. If we get them going to the movies, it's a cycle, and then more people go to the movies, more people watch the Oscars. Maybe we can reintroduce these categories later, but I think maybe this is a good short-term solve.
So maybe we go the opposite direction. We add a TikTok award, best TikTok, best Instagram selfie, and then like bring in the youngsters through that fashion.
The youngsters.
It's interesting.
They
tried to do.
No, we should not.
They tried to do something similar to that in the sense that they were going to introduce a category that was awarding big blockbuster movies like the Spider-Mans and the Spider-Mans. Why did I say it like that?
I love the show, the Spider-Man.
It's a family. It's the Spider-Mans.
Spider-Man.
The Avengers, Star Wars, things like that. And people had a big problem with that too. And now they're talking about introducing a category where people are like picking the movies that are included, more fan favorites, and people have problems with that. Someone has to be okay with something at some point, otherwise there will be no Oscars in the future.
But is the Oscars entertainment, or is the Oscars a way to honor the best movies? Like, is there a way to do like, if people are paying more attention to their Spider-Man and not paying attention to Coda or any other movies that are nominated, that's a matter of taste. Like that. So, it becomes things. Do you cheapen an Oscar by nominating a movie that's not that good but is popular, or do you stick to your guns and like, this is a way to salute the best movies, not just necessarily the most popular ones? So I imagine it's a question they're wrestling with all the time as to how do you keep this prestige but also bring in a new audience. And I guess I don't have the answer for that, but it is a thing where it is like, are you entertainment or are you a way to honor the best? Because I don't know if you can necessarily be both.
Yeah, I mean, that's why every year we talk about who the host is going to be, like who's going to draw more viewers, because we have like Billy Crystal was always like a really big draw for the Oscars until people stopped caring about Billy Crystal. And then they tried to bring in Seth MacFarlane to freshen things up, and no one watched Seth MacFarlane. And then they brought back Billy Crystal or Ellen, or, the Oscars has this habit of doing a safe pick and a risky pick. And the risky pick never pays off. Anne Hathaway and James Franco was a massive miss. They brought back Billy Crystal. Ratings were better again. So yeah, it is. People do want entertainment because they want to see someone who's like a song and dance man, sort of. But yeah, you can't lose sight of what the whole thing is, and it's honoring these movies, but also, part of honoring these movies for the film industry is so that people go out and watch them, because it's the lifeblood of, most of these movies, especially the more like artsy indie films, don't make their bank until they're nominated for the Oscars. And then we get this, this boom during awards season. So it's important. And I don't have all the answers, but I think we should try. I think we should all try things.
Like, honestly, David, I love having this conversation with you, just because I know how passionate you are about it, and I don't know anybody who knows more about that part of the industry than you do. So here's the thing: we'll fix it, and we'll reach out to them. We'll let them know. Well, I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it by the end of the show, how to fix the ratings, and we'll get back.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're waiting on pins and needles for our thoughts. So we'll let them know.
I'm sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
David's especially, definitely. You need to write the most strongly worded letter.
TikTokers to host the Oscars.
I've sat through these. I've been backstage during these long telecasts where it's like, still early-ish there, but like midnight here. Like, the press is tired, the stars are tired, and there's like, it's kind of, this is a whole thing. We're gonna drag this segment out so long, but like, honestly, it's sad when they send back the short film nominees and some of the sound and costuming and makeup people. After they win, they send them back to the press room, and people don't ask them questions, because even the press doesn't care. And that's not fair. It's not nice. It's embarrassing that they have to come back there and stand there and no one has a question for them, because they're all waiting for the big stars. So, I mean, I think there's a solution here that can benefit everybody. I don't know what it is. We'll talk, and then we'll send a note.
This episode is going to run
I would argue
the Oscars does.
Exactly. Yeah. One last point is that I think that if they actually leaned into these categories and into the people behind them, I think that we have lost that, that when you talk about the glitz and the glamour, there's just everything with social media, we have access to everything. So the access is just really different. And people now, I feel like, want to hear real stories and want to hear the stories directly from certain people. And so, like, why not highlight those stories and those categories, especially documentaries and shorts and, all the animated. I mean, it's a shift. And I think that they need to reconsider it altogether. I know that you were saying, and we could debate this forever, but I think that leaning into it is probably the better idea.
Yeah, Liz, that's an awesome point. We just finished up the Olympics, and when I watch Olympic coverage, there's all this like build up to an event, and they teach me about the person that by the time they succeed, I feel like I know that I'm happy for them.
You're in it.
There was some kind of way, like leading up to the show, if there were like packages about like meet these documentary filmmakers, things like that, that might really help people get invested into not only their piece but the people as a whole. That's a great idea, Liz.
They need to hire us. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Liz,
I told you we'd get there.
One more point. Because, Liz, you do make a really, really great point. And I've said this many, many years while I was covering the Oscars. My favorite categories every year were animated short and live action short. And those are two of the categories that are being cut. But there are filmmakers telling really, really amazing stories in the short film medium. And the reason I cared about them was because the Oscars would hold Oscar week events in Beverly Hills where you could go and sit down, watch every short back-to-back. They would have all the filmmakers on stage, and they talk about them and tell you their stories. So I would get there so excited to see who won, because not only did I see the films, but I cared about the filmmakers. But the fact still remains that people are not watching these films. I don't know why. They should be, but they're not, and that's why they don't care about the categories. So, I mean, I think there's a larger issue here with just the state of cinema and film and all of that. But like, those short films are available to watch. Like, you can watch them. So do it, and do it by saying movies. No, not movies. You can say movies, but also say Oscar nominees into your voice remote, and you can see all the Oscar nominated. Say movies if you want, or say Oscar nominees. You'll find them both there. So now that I've blasted Hollywood for patting themselves in the back, let's pat Hollywood on the back in a segment called Collection Corner. It's the golden age of television, which means some of Hollywood's biggest stars, who only used to appear on the big screen, are now gleefully taking gigs on the small screen. In celebration of these crossover kings and queens, I created a collection called Oscar Nominees We Love on TV, which features 13 of this year's nominated stars and the notable television projects you can watch right now. The collection includes the likes of Will Smith, who was nominated for King Richard and can be watched, of course, in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on HBO every episode. Jessica Chastain, who was nominated for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, can be seen right now in a limited series called Scenes from a Marriage on HBO Max. Benedict Cumberbatch is nominated for The Power of the Dog and can be seen in the Showtime drama Patrick Melrose. And Denzel Washington, who is nominated for The Tragedy of Macbeth. He can be seen in the classic medical drama St. Elsewhere, every single episode, every season, available right now on Hulu. It's very cool. Go check it out. There is one particular nominee that I'm very excited about, and her name is Olivia Colman. She has had a really incredible couple of years. She won an Oscar in 2019 for her performance in The Favorite. She was nominated in 2021 for her performance in The Father, and is nominated again this year for her performance in The Lost Daughter. If you just put a "the" in front of any of her movie titles, she gets nominated for an Oscar. She also has an extensive TV resume, especially in the UK, but also here, including roles in The Night Manager, Broadchurch, Fleabag, The Crown, and most recently, the HBO Max limited series Landscapers. Based on a true story, Landscapers follows a mild-mannered married couple that kills her parents, buries them in the backyard, and almost gets away with it for more than a decade. The series has a 98% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It is well worth your time. It's only 4 episodes. And it's got David Thewlis, who you might recognize from Harry Potter. For the youngins out there, go watch this serious drama. Your beloved Harry Potter guy is in it. And Olivia Colman. So very, very cool. Liz, who from this list are you really vibing with?
So I chose Penelope Cruz. She is nominated for her role in Parallel Mothers, and we could also see her in the assassination of Gianni Versace. So I think what's interesting right now is that both she and her husband, Javier Bardem, are both nominated for Best Actress and Best Actor, he for being in The Ricardos. And she is, I think, someone who doesn't get enough credit for her roles and what it is that she does, and also known as not Salma Hayek, right? So I think everybody confuses her with Salma Hayek. She talks about her great relationship with Salma and how they became friends, but she is definitely someone who, and if you haven't watched The Assassination of Versace, Gianni Versace, please go ahead and do that. I mean, she does an amazing job as Donatella Versace, his sister, and going through obviously such a difficult time in her life and trying to maintain an empire, grieve the brother, and all the other things that go into what you would expect someone to go through in terms of your brother being murdered and trying to keep up your empire. But yes, definitely someone that I think people should keep an eye out for. She's someone who is underestimated, I think, most times, and people forget who she is. And again, she's not Salma Hayek. She's Penelope Cruz, and was nominated for Parallel Mothers.
Tell him, Liz.
This is a very aggressive episode.
Yeah, both beautiful women, just a little different. Also want to mention, I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, is that the assassination of Gianni Versace was Penelope's first American TV debut, which she ended up winning a nomination for as well. So, I mean, definitely check it out if you haven't already. Would love to hear, Gordon, who you chose.
Before I get into that, I want you to know I would never confuse Penelope Cruz with Salma Hayek, because I love them equally.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, wait. Also, before you go, Gordon, Penelope Cruz is one of the most beautiful criers on screen. I know this is like a weird thing. She never looks bad crying, and she cries a lot in her movies. She's also mastered this, like, she gets these big, like, bubbly, teary eyes, and then she just has the single tear come down. Like, Penelope Cruz has mastered the single tear, beautiful cry situation.
I love that.
It's a real skill. I don't know what she
Maybe
is. She's eye drops or what it is.
Maybe that's the next big Oscar category, the single tear cry.
Yeah, best crier.
But yeah,
agreed.
Well, my pick, I'm going through a bit of a J.K. Simmons renaissance, if you will. He's always kind of been like great at everything he's been in, but not really appreciated until he played Terrence Fletcher in Whiplash a couple years and won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar, which is a fantastic movie. There's a lot of language in it, but it's a great movie. Check it out if you get a chance. But just looking back at all the things he's done, from Juno to the Spider-Man movies, the Spider-Men movies, Justice League. And if you know me, I am the world's biggest Ghostbusters fan. He has a cameo as a very important part of Ghostbusters lore in the new Ghostbusters Afterlife movie, which is great, by the way. I'm biased, but I love it. But what we're talking about is his roles on television. And we got to talk about Counterpart, which I don't want to say too much about this because I don't want to spoil anything. It aired on Stars from 2017 to 2019. And he plays Howard Silk, a couple of versions of Howard Silk. As you know, like, alternate universes are all the rage these days, but maybe he was one of the first people to do it. But it's fantastic, like this kind of like Cold War thriller between alternate universes. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get into spoiler territory. He's fantastic, and he's fantastic in everything. Apparently I'm like his press agent now. I'm like, J.K. Simmons. Fun fact, going into today's episode, I was scared to death of calling him J.K. Rowlings, but I didn't do it. The whole time I said J.K. Simmons. So yeah. And again, check him out in Whiplash. Check him out in Counterpart on Stars. And what a fantastic actor, and what a renaissance he's having. And in the Farmers ads. Do you get Oscars for Farmers ads? Maybe you'll get one for there too. But that's what I got, David. That's my my thought on J.K. Simmons. Back to you.
I used to cover the Farmies, which were the farmers. Farmers
you
insurance
win awards for your commercials for insurance. Yeah, he's huge in that industry.
Apparently, they get really high ratings. They get high ratings.
Yeah.
They figured it out.
J.K. Simmons, fun fact, is also the voice of one of the M&Ms in the M&M commercials. He's the yellow one. Oh, he says Santa Claus.
He's too good for that. He's too good for that. Like, he should be like the smart.
No one is too good for M&Ms.
Like he should. I love M&Ms, but he. Oh boy! Just now, I'm gonna have guilt every time I crack open a yellow M&M.
Support your pick of Counterpart. If you watch one show leaving today, Counterpart is so good and so underseen and so underrated. And I think you can say a little more about it without spoiling it. Like, they've discovered a portal to a mirror universe. And
go for it.
There's a tunnel. That doesn't spoil anything, right? There's a tunnel.
No,
and
a tunnel?
Once that's been breached.
Now they know there's a tunnel.
Now
they know there's a tunnel, David.
That's it. We're getting hate mail.
The tunnel doesn't spoil anything. There are versions of everyone. It's a mirror image, but once this has been breached, they both go off in their separate directions and evolve differently. So one world has different things than the other world, and there's like this sort of political cat and mouse game between giving each other too much or too little information to help each other. Like, if one world has discovered a medicine, the other one, a cure for cancer, the other world might not have. So you see the discrepancies in how these worlds.
There's a butterfly effect.
Yes, and J.K. Simmons plays like this agent who has to, who's tasked with like monitoring the other world. It's so good. If you like sci-fi, like, check it out. I just wanted to say more about it because it's great. 2 seasons.
Seconded.
You can do it.
2 seasons.
So to check out this collection, just say Oscar nominees on TV into your remote, and to catch up on all the Oscar nominated films before the telecast on Sunday, March 27th, just say Oscar nominees. Next up, like a movie scene in The Sweetest Dream, I have pictured us together in a segment called Hangouts. Jennifer Lopez currently stars in Peacock's brand new romantic comedy entitled Marry Me, which is the story of a pop star named Kat Valdez who discovers her fiance is cheating and decides to marry a total stranger played by Owen Wilson in the audience at one of her shows. Our very own Liz had the opportunity to sit down one-on-one with J-Lo for a new episode of Xfinity Hangouts. Liz, please tell us more about it.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, what fun we had together. And I want to just, why don't we go to a clip and then we could talk about it once we're done.
This is once in a lifetime.
I've got my daughter tonight.
Good. I've got 3 tickets for tonight. Bring her.
Dad, you haven't had any fun since Mom left. Just say yes.
Okay, let's go. We only have 5 minutes.
What's everybody looking at?
Nothing. Give me your phone.
Kat Valdez's husband-to-be, Bastian, caught cheating with her assistant.
They say if you want something different, you have to do something different. Why not? I'll marry you. You.
That's what these movies do for people, is that they just give them hope in the meantime. And a nice fun time, too. I want them to laugh.
Yeah. Laugh, cry, dance a little bit.
Sing.
We got everything.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah. And what do you find? I mean, Kat, you mentioned she goes through a lot. She has some ups and downs, but she's so resilient.
Yeah.
And so what do you find? Do you find that you have similarities between you and Kat?
Yeah, this character, I think, there's not a ton of people who could have played this character in the way that I understood her. And it's because of what my life has been, obviously. And I was actually able to bring some really nice little nuances of what it's like behind the scenes, and what certain moments really feel like when you come home and you're on Jimmy Fallon and you're the butt of the joke, and how you have to, when you're in public, oh yeah, it was funny, this and that and da-da-da. I know it's funny, but it really is breaking your heart, because it was one of the worst moments of your life or whatever. Like those little moments, I think, were really nice to see in this movie. It's not saying feel sorry for me because you don't have to, but it's just saying there's a real person here.
Oh, gosh. You guys have to check out the rest of the interview so you can hear the rest of that story and some other questions that we went through. I mean, I love that Jennifer Lopez was able to get really vulnerable and talk about how she was the perfect person to play Kat in this role because of, her own public, drama that is out that everyone knows about, right? So I think what people forget is that she is a hopeless romantic, loves and has done such a great job in all of these rom-coms. She has found her niche in these rom-coms, right? She's not only starring in this, but she's also the executive producer and has married both, her love for acting and her love for music, put it together. This is the first studio album that she's recorded in 7 years, and she's got a full album with some tracks with Maluma. Actually, the music is pretty good. It's why you keep hearing us sing, "Marry Me, Marry Me." It's catchy. It's definitely catchy. I think what's great about Jennifer is that she started off as a dancer. You may all remember that she broke out as a fly girl in Living Color in the 90s, then broke out in acting in Selena, in her role as Selena. And then decided, why not? Let's do some music. And then she did a really great job there too. And I think that she has done an amazing job at reinventing who she is time and time again, of staying relevant, of being just authentic to herself. She, has makeup and skincare lines. She's also, a singer, an actress, and a mother, a daughter, a sister. She also does some work with her nonprofit with one of her sisters as well. And so she is, I think something there, everyone has to love something, I think, about Jennifer. I'll tell you what I loved most about Jennifer, and then would love to hear what you guys, what is your favorite Jennifer moment? Back in 2019, when concerts were a thing, I went to see her. They still are a thing, FYI, if you want to go to them. But she was only turned 50 once, and it was her 50th birthday. It's My Party tour. She came to Philadelphia, and I went and saw her, and I was just in awe at her performance. She is a true performer. Her showmanship is amazing. Her stamina is fabulous. And we do talk about that in the interview as well. So if you want to check that out, another plug, make sure you go watch, say what to watch in the remote. But she just has done just about everything and a little bit of anything. So I'd love to hear from you, Gordon. What is your favorite J-Lo moment?
Well, before we get into that, I think we need to explain what a fly girl is. For all the youngsters out there, there was a show in the 90s on Fox that was kind of like Saturday Night Live, like a sketch comedy show called In Living Color. And in between skits or segments, they would have a group of women come out and dance. And she was one of those women. They weren't named. She was, she was just like this fantastic dancer that appeared on this show. And they were known as the Fly Girls.
Yeah.
Boy, do I sound like the oldest
Thanks
man
for
ever?
that.
In my day,
Yeah.
we had Fly Girls.
had Fly
Okay,
Girls.
as for my favorite, it's my favorite J-Lo thing. I watched Marry Me, and I got to tell you, she, her charisma, like, takes over that movie. Like, if you don't like J-Lo, don't watch that movie. But if you like J-Lo, watch that movie because she sings like 3 or 4 songs in it, and she's fantastic. But she's great. But I wanted to talk about, you talked about Selena, which was kind of like her coming out party. But where she really kicked in the door, it really became a force, really became like that next level superstar, was in 1998. Steven Soderbergh, crime, kind of comedy, drama-y, romantic, whatever you want to call it, movie called Out of Sight-ish, just a hybrid of everything, called Out of Sight. She plays a U.S. Marshal that gets trapped in a trunk of a car while a bank robber is making an escape, which sounds like a nightmare, unless that bank robber, George Clooney. Their chemistry was insane. And my bar for romantic chemistry, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Jennifer Lopez and George Clooney were just a smidge, whatever term of measure you want to use below them. Like I gotta tell you, they are just smoking together. Why haven't they worked together again? They were so good in that, and it really was where the world kind of took notice of Jennifer Lopez and that she's going to be a big deal, and obviously she has been. And it's a good movie anyway. So if not just based on those two, Don Cheadle's in it. A lot of Ving Rhames, I believe, is in it. A lot of big names are in it. So check out of Sight if you get a chance. It's young J-Lo, really just a fantastic performance, and get her and Clooney back together. What are they waiting on? Let's make it happen. Out of sight again. More closer in sight. Out of sight. Go on. Bye.
Further out of
sight.
sight.
It's not like it's my job to fix the Oscars. It's not my job to come up with movie titles. David, J-Lo.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
I mean, it's amazing George Clooney can have chemistry with anybody. I mean, he's a great actor, but when have you been like, wow, he really like sparked with this actor on screen?
Clooney hate.
Sorry, Clooney.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyway,
the shade.
ER.
I need Scott with his shade button.
I said ER.
What did you say? ER?
I said ER. Like I meant he was.
Oh.
George Clooney was in a TV show called. If you don't know what a fly girl is, you probably don't know ER. George Clooney played a doctor on the NBC hit drama.
What did ER stand for? Was that
emergency room? I'm assuming.
Oh, right.
He was a doctor.
All right. Yeah. To me, peak Jennifer Lopez is the Jennifer Lopez who sang the smash hit song "If You Had My Love." if you don't remember that song, first of all, what's wrong with you? Secondly, we have a clip of the music video right here. So let's roll it.
That's what you told me, that's what you said. You want me, you have to be. No feelings on my dreams. If you really want me, babe. If you had my love and I gave you all my trust, would you come me? Tell me, baby. And if somehow you let your love would be, would you lie to me? And I'll be baby.
Oh my God. Released in May 1999, If You Had My Love was Jennifer Lopez's first #1 hit, topping the charts in 6 countries, including the United States. It was also one of the songs of the summer in a crowded field of summer songs like I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys, Nookie by Limp Bizkit, Genie in the Bottle by Christina Aguilera, peak TRL choices right there. But what always stuck out to me about this song was the music video. Nothing quite dates this song quite like the music video. Not only the lava lamp, but it shows this creeper logging into his dial-up AOL to watch J-Lo seductively walk around a series of totally white rooms. He just goes to a search bar and types in Jennifer Lopez, and suddenly he can watch her in her house. Sure, why not? How did J-Lo get there? Is she being held hostage in this room? Was she one of the earliest cam girls? Was this like an OnlyFans situation? And then he's like watching her in the bathroom on a website called Internet TV. What also sticks out is like the variety of people watching her. There's a little girl. There's a couple of women standing in their kitchen watching her on the countertop. There's a DJ at a club who's like on the ones and twos. And then he's watching her while he's pushing play on his iPod. And then there are 2 guys at a car shop who are like working on a car and like, oh, wow, there's a woman on the TV there. Also, who in the world had dial-up internet in 1999 that was so fast that they could stream crystal clear video to their televisions? Like, you might as well have just bought a Maxim magazine at that point. And then like halfway through the video, there's this dance break. And like J-Lo breaks it down and she's like dancing and she has like 5 outfit changes during the dance break. There is so much going on. And kids, if you don't remember a little MTV show called Total Request Live, this was the kind of video that made teenagers pee themselves out in Times Square, holding up signs that say like, J-Lo, I love you. It's just, and she just looks fantastic in this video. This was like her music video coming out, sort of like you see she was like kind of bearing some skin, and I was 15 years old at the time, so like there was nobody hotter than J-Lo. It was the summer of J-Lo. It's also a good song. There's like so many little phrases and bits of the song you can sing, like that's what you told me, that's what you said, I don't need the hurt and I don't need the pain.
Not bad.
I need you.
Yes.
Don't you lie to me, baby. It's great.
So you're saying
you're
saying the video was not a short documentary. It was not worthy of.
It was about Oscar as long as my rant about it. No, it was. Thankfully, J-Lo got out of the room. Somebody let her out of this room. Internet has evolved beyond AOL chat rooms, and it's great. That was my favorite J-Lo.
Yeah. Well, you know, she speaking of her music videos, she does have a Guinness World Book record for most watched female music video. And it's not this one. It is actually On the Floor. That is the highest viewed female music video. And she holds that record. Well, I think she still holds that record. On YouTube. Yeah, I don't know where. How do they count these views?
How do kids watch videos? On the TikTok?
I don't know. I on the TikTok. Yes.
Yeah.
On the TikTok.
They go to AOL keyword J-Lo, and then they wait 10 minutes for it to load and stop buffering.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how you do it.
Well, if you haven't got, sorry, go ahead.
Do we have a minute for a TRL story?
Yes, please.
Okay, so my best friend used to work for MTV, and he used to do warm-ups. And I was visiting him in New York, and we went to the TRL set like the afternoon before it started. And NSYNC was going to be there that day, so it was like a madhouse outside because people could like, we're out waiting outside for NSYNC. So he takes me up in the studio. We're walking around. And he's showing me all the stuff, and we go up to the window where you can see the audience. They thought we were NSYNC and exploded. Like like I've never experienced anything like thousands and thousands of people like cheering for you. And it lasted for like 5 seconds until I swear I looked down and saw one of the kids go, "Who's that?" So I felt cool for like 1 minute because they thought I was NSYNC, and that's my.
They
that's
thought
my
you were
hero.
They thought you were Joey Fatone.
Why do you think they would think I was Joey Fatone? There's 5 you could choose from, David.
Stop! Oh my gosh, I love this. I have a Joey Fatone story. I swear.
Yes.
I have a Joey Fatone story.
Out of all 5 NSYNC members, why would he go
I
for
was
Fatone?
just going to say it was probably the hair that they thought you were one of the, for sure.
You think I had this hair 20 years ago? It was short curls like Timberlake has.
Oh, okay.
It was probably great.
I need the Joey Fatone story.
All right, really quick. NSYNC was here in Philadelphia for a concert. I didn't go to the concert, but my girlfriend and I were down at Pat's Steaks, and it was kind of late, and we were, in Philly. That's what you do. We go to Pat's Steaks. Up pulls this really big black SUV-looking thing. They get out of the car. I turn to my girlfriend, and I go, "Oh, my gosh, I think that's NSYNC." So Joey Fatone comes over to us, and I swear I can't make this up. My kids are going to kill me because up until I just recently moved, I still had the napkin, but Joey Fatone gave me his telephone number. I'm not going to say cell phone because I don't even know if they had cell phones. Maybe it was a beeper. I don't even remember what it was, but he gave me a telephone number on a napkin. Got the Sharpie from his big, bodyguard dude, wrote it down for me, and I still had it up until the other day. And the number one thing that my kids ask me is, "Why didn't you call? Why didn't you call him?" I actually did end up speaking to him that entire weekend. He was like touring and going down to Baltimore. And of course, he asked me to join and be one of his groupies on the bus. And I said no, right? You're welcome, Mom. Right?
No.
Yeah, really.
Liz, are you sure it wasn't me? Are you
It
sure
was
I didn't give you my
probably
number
you,
because I look
Gordon.
just like Joey Fatone, right, David?
That is so weird. It could have been you, actually.
And you never joined me on my bus, Liz.
There's a Back to the
Never joined me on my
Future.
bus.
There's like a Back to the Future situation where you end up, going on Joey Fatone's bus and your kids slowly fade away.
Yeah.
An alternate
world.
timeline, like
A
Counterpart, full circle.
A tunnel.
This has spiraled out of control. You can check out Liz's entire interview with Jennifer Lopez right now by saying, marry me, or Xfinity Hangouts into your voice remote. Next up, it's not the summer of 69, but we're about to play until our fingers bleed in a segment called Free. Oh, we're losing it. With much of the country in seasonal purgatory between winter and spring, everyone's looking for something to pass the time in the warm embrace of a little place we call the indoors. And if you need something to entertain the whole family, look no further than our gaming destination, curated by our very own Gordon.
Joey Fatone lookalike.
I was gonna say it,
AKA
and then I didn't. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it again.
Fatone. I'll say it. Joey Fatone.
I would like to apologize on behalf of Comcast Incorporated for the actions of David and Liz this afternoon. I know you tune in here. You like to learn about what to watch or what's going on in the Comcast universe, and we love telling you. I'm just sorry that they felt the need to take it upon themselves to go into business for themselves and besmirch the good name of Joey Fatone.
Just wait until this segment lives by itself and there is no context for this Joey Fatone content.
I know.
Gordon, do you have anything I can play for free?
Do I?
Yeah.
I dropped my notes. Okay, so I'm a gamer, head gaming, blah, blah, blah here, and more of a AAA gamer. I recently finished up Deathloop. I'm going to start up Elden Ring in the next couple days, but what about those games you can play quickly easily with your Xfinity voice remote for free. Tell you what, just say games in your Xfinity voice remote. You could take into a collection of dozens and dozens. I think we have like 85 games at this point of games you can play with your remote. And you're probably asking yourself, what kind of games, Gordon? Well, I'll tell you. They're broken up into category. We have card games, we have puzzle games, we have racing games. If you're into, I know word games are popular this time of year, or most recently, thanks to what's going on the internet. We got word games. We got the same kind of games you'd find on an app on your phone. Trivia games, parents. We have education games. But I'm going to highlight the 6 I go to. I go to a couple of them. I like a lot of these games, but there's 6 in particular that I like to play when I'm taking a break. And I'll start off with Ono with Friends. Basically, this is a very original game. You've never, ever seen anything like it before, ever, in any form. So don't even go looking. It's a card game. You play with 4 different people, over the internet, and you have 4 different colors. You have draw 4, draw 2, reverse, skip. Again, a totally original game. You've never seen anything like it before. A ton of fun to play using your Xfinity voice remote. Next up, we have the popular app game known as Crossy Road. We actually did a big competition here at work and over Crossy Road, and the top scores were 13 or 17 or 19. That means they managed to get that far in the game. It's basically Frogger with a chicken. I don't mean to brag, but that means when you say that, that means you're going to follow that up with a brag. I scored 259. I took that chicken across like the entire country. I put that chicken through college. That chicken's alive and well. It did not fall into a river, so I'm very proud of that score. A lot of fun to play using your voice remote. Next up, we have Neon Rider, which is one of my personal favorite games because it has this. It's this racing game where it's like futuristic and post-apocalyptic. I can't say that word. And it's got this soundtrack that's like jug, 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 jug. And I got so busted. I was in a Zoom meeting, and in the background, I was playing Neon Rider, and someone's like, "Is someone listening to music?" And it was me because I was playing Neon Rider, and in the background of this meeting, they hear jug, 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 jug. That's on me. My bad. It's what do you want? It's addictive, but it's a lot of fun. Also, Text Twist. Like I was saying, word games are so hot now, and Text Twist is one of the hottest. You get it's almost like teaches you how to be better at Scrabble. They give you like 7 random letters, and you have to pick all of the possible words you can make from it. It's a lot of fun. I played Text Twist a lot. And then next up, this is a name a lot of people are going to recognize from the 80s, Tetris. You can play Tetris on X1 or Flex using your voice remote. This is one when I was a kid. I used to play this. My dad hated video games, but for some reason when Tetris was on, he'd sit back in his chair and he'd be like, over there. No, over there. I didn't know what he was talking about because I just heard a voice. I didn't know what over there meant, but he felt like he was part of the team. And occasionally I would get it wrong. He's like, no, I said over there. I'm like, well, what do you expect me to do? Anyway, if you're unfamiliar with Tetris, blocks fall down. You try to make a complete line. You make a complete line. That line disappears and you get yourself some points. It's a good time. And finally, this is the one that takes up the most of my spare time, which as a new father is not. I should not be spending time playing World Poker Tour. But I'm spending time playing World Poker Tour. It's just basically Texas Hold'em, but it's a really fun format. They say if you don't know who the sucker at the table is, it's you. It's safe to say I'm the sucker. I don't do well. I wonder, there's this fantasy of what if I get super good at this? What if this is my next career? That has yet to happen. Anywho, World Poker Tour, again, to play these games, just pick up your voice remote and say games, and it'll take you to a huge collection, tons of games. We're always adding new ones. There's some I can't mention that are coming up that are big, recognizable names. So you definitely want to check that out. Come early, come often to the games destination to play some free games. That's what I got. David, back to you, buddy.
Nice. I totally found myself watching the Tetris game on the screen and being like, no, don't go there. Why are you doing that? You're about to really screw up. And that word game reminds me of Wordle. Are you guys playing Wordle?
Yes.
Wordle's so hot these days, David. I had a long streak going that was recently snapped, and it affects you. It hits hard and deep.
I did it too. I lost my first game. I had 141. I'd never lost. And then it went over to the New York Times. And now the New York Times is putting these smart words into keep in mind, I have a degree in writing and English and all of that. Smart words too much.
Too smart for
Only to say
you don't know words smarter than me.
the words are too smart. They're too smart for me on Wordle. I liked it when they were just picking things like crumb or like plain. I don't want like any words that start with I.
I like those
No
plebeian
yeah.
words. I don't want smart people words.
Right.
My trick is I lead off with adieu because that gets you 4 vowels. And then I go with storm because that gets you STR and that 5th vowel.
The strategy.
So
Game
I know their
changer.
strategy, but I like
You're
picking
welcome.
something different every time. I feel like that's a little bit cheating. Like, but it's not. But I just like challenging myself.
Oh, how on earth is that?
So you
cheating?
randomly just choose a word every single time. You're like, I feel like
The nerve.
Every day. No strategy. I'm just like, I'm gonna go with I can't blade. I don't know.
Right.
Because I
2 vowels.
I saw
Wow. A D. Good
I
job,
saw
David.
like this and it made me think of a blade of grass, my plant.
I think there's a
What are
very
we
good
doing?
reason why
What are
your
we
streak
doing?
was snapped. And
Yeah,
I think it's
we're on
because of the
fire
hubris.
today.
The arrogance and
Oh.
hubris you take into your
Look at these
Wordle.
flowers.
That's
I didn't
beautiful.
even notice this.
Yeah.
It's growing flowers. All right, what are we doing? This is
It's
sorry.
a weed.
I didn't.
It's a weed. If it's a blade of
It's
grass, it's a weed.
I've already
I didn't even notice these flowers. All right. Just
I've
say
already
games.
apologized to everybody. We're fine.
Just say, just say games into your remote to go play free games that Gordon just talked about. They're awesome. And before we say goodbye, as always, this segment will never work on its own. We've totally blew it. And before we say goodbye, as always, we're here to help you plan your weekly watch list with a segment called Plan Ahead. I'm not going to do it. For this week's premieres, we say hello to an all-new tribe of Scandinavian seafarers. You're going to Hollywood to an all-new group of karaoke singers. WTF to an infamous con artist named Elizabeth Holmes. And we say pss, 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 to all you cool cats and kittens out there. Liz, please tell us more about it.
We have a great lineup of new premieres with a little something for everyone. And we're going to start off with Vikings Valhalla on Netflix on February 25th. This historical drama picks up 100 years after the History Channel's series Vikings. And as you could have guessed by the name, it's about Vikings. Specifically, though, about Leif Erikson, played by Sam Corlett, and his sister, Freydis Eriksdotter, played by Frida Gustafsson. As you would expect from a Viking story, this series doesn't disappoint. It's full of drama, lots of blood and gore during those fight scenes, and overall pretty provocative. You won't want to miss it. Vikings Valhalla on Netflix on February 25th. So nothing says you're old like talking to you about a 20th season premiere of any show. And yes, I'm talking about season 20 of American Idol premiering on ABC on February 27th. We have returning judges like Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, and Luke Bryan looking for that next singing sensation. Ryan Seacrest will also return as host, and I honestly just hope we get to see some of these past winners like Jennifer Hudson and Carrie Underwood, and of course, some Kelly Clarkson. You won't want to miss a moment like this. You see what I did there? Well, anyway, let's moving on to better things. I mean, no, really. We're talking about the 5th and final season of Better Things premiering on February 28th on FX. This series followed Sam Fox, who was played by Pamela Adlon, and you may recognize her as the voice of Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. Well, either way, Sam is a Gen Xer, single mom, actress, and really just trying to stay relevant and sane, which both are crazy and impossible while raising 3 girls. And I should know a little something about that. But either way, it's a raw and funny and authentic show, and you definitely won't want to miss it. You also won't want to miss the new drama series on Hulu, The Dropout, which premieres on March 3rd. Many of us are familiar with the story of Elizabeth Holmes and her company Theranos, and if you're not, make sure you catch this series to learn what happened to the youngest self-made female billionaire who was expected to be the next Steve Jobs. Amanda Seyfried plays Elizabeth opposite Naveen Andrews as her partner, Sunny Balwani. There's also a star-studded lineup of reoccurring guest stars. You won't want to miss this Hulu original, The Dropout, on March 3rd. And we're going to round out the week on March 3rd with Joe versus Carol on Peacock. I mean, did you even quarantine if you didn't watch or at least hear about Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin? And because obviously we can't get enough of the feud between the two of them, there's a new series starring Kate McKinnon and John Cameron Mitchell. I mean, is there a better way to even end your week? I don't think so.
And in this week's finales, we say farewell to Blind Love, Amazing Racers, Stacked Chefs, and the most chaotic drug-fueled teen series on television. Gordon, give us the rundown.
Thank you, David. All right, I have said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Eventually it'll become a catchphrase. All good things must come to an end, and so too must our favorite show. So let's take a look at the finales for this week. We're going to kick it off Friday, February 25th, the finale of Love is Blind on Netflix. This reality dating show where people fall in love without really meeting each other is very weird, but also very fun. And honestly, not a lot of people know this, but I have a very deep connection to this show because it was on season 1 of the show where my parents met and fell in love. So if it wasn't for Love is Blind, I wouldn't even be here. Hopefully some other crazy kids can form a similar love connection tonight. From there, it's one of the most popular shows amongst Xfinity Hangouts editors. I'm talking about Euphoria on HBO Max. They're dropping their season 2 finale on Sunday, February 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This finale's got a lot to live up to considering everything that's happened in the past, but I have my fingers crossed that they can pull it off. And how do you like that for staying out of spoiler territory? Captain Vague over here with his amazing powers of vagueness. Speaking of superheroes, this Wednesday, March 2nd, it's the finale of Batwoman on the CW. Tune in at 9 p.m. Eastern Time to see if Batwoman and the Bat Team can stop Marquis and his evil plan to put a hurting on the good folks of Gotham City. I tell you, who would live in Gotham City? Like, there are so many safer places. Maybe real estate prices are good because the crime is so extreme. Also, the crime's so creative. You gotta give them that. They'll, blow up a building with a giant rubber duck. Very creative. Good on them. On that same night, big night for finales Wednesday, Next Level Chef finishes off its debut season at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Which one of the remaining chefs has what it takes to elevate their game to the next level? Well, I tell you, only Superstar Chef and the only other Gordon I know, Gordon Ramsay, knows for sure. All you food lovers, foodies, food fans, and, people who enjoy multiple levels, you got to be sure to check that one out. And finally, same night, same time, we're talking about Wednesday, March 2nd, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The Amazing Race is going to crown their latest winner on CBS, and major kudos to the production team here. I'm a big fan of CBS reality, but they had to shut down the whole shebang due to COVID. So you've got this weird, uneven team dynamic throughout the whole season, and it seems like they had to stay in Europe for the majority of the season, but honestly, good on them. They made it happen, and I gotta tell you, Amazing Race is like pizza. Even when it's not great, it's still really, really good. So kudos to the team at CBS. All right, that's all I got, David. Back to you, buddy.
And if you're looking for a tease of what's coming a little further out, The Boys animated spin-off series The Boys Diabolical debuts on Prime Video March 4th. Toni Collette comes to Netflix for the drama series Pieces of Her on March 4th. Outlander returns to stars after 2 years on March 6th. The historical drama Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty premieres on HBO Max March 6th. And Renee Zellweger stars in NBC's true crime limited series The Thing About Pam starting March 8th. And that will do it for today's show. Special thank you to our very special guest, Jennifer Lopez, but an even bigger thank you to my fellow Xfinity editors, Liz and Gordon, for joining me today. If you want to check out the TV shows and movies we talked about today, get more of our entertainment recommendations, or watch us interview big celebrities, just say what to watch into your voice remote, or tune in here every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern for a new episode. My name is David. Thank you for joining us on What to Watch Live.